Audience feedback was vital throughout every stage of this coursework. In the research stage, we needed to gather data about the demographics of our target audience and what these individuals wanted to see in the 3 products. We also used audience feedback repeatedly in the planning stage. The main purpose of this was to check the audience liked what our ideas were and how they progressed in order to aid us when we're making key decisions that would affect the product's outcomes. In the construction process, it was crucial to have constant reassurance that we were on the right track with the products, and without it we would have ended up with 3 products that none of the target audience would have liked or wanted to buy. Because of this, audience feedback was very important, and as it pointed out any issues that we needed to change in order to improve our products that we did not notice ourselves. The first audience feedback we obtained was to get an understanding of the demographics of the members of our target audience, so that we could see what they liked in the music video, digipack and website. To do this, we created a survey on SurveyMonkey. From this research, we found out that the target audience for indie music was equally split between males and females, with 11 males and 11 females completing the survey. There was also 86.36% that were aged between 17 to 23 years old, and 77.27% were white Caucasian. Because of this, we chose white Caucasian actors aged between 17 to 23 years, and so that the audience could relate to them more strongly than they could to any other demographic. As well as this, we tried to make our products as gender neutral as possible. The most liked subgenre of indie was indie rock and indie pop, with 65.22%. Again, because of this, we chose a Bastille song, because they are an indie rock / indie pop band, and our target audience's favourite was this. Bastille also, it was chosen in a later question in the survey as one of the most popular bands among the audience. It was also revealed to us that the most common place where indie fans like to listen to the music is through YouTube, with 73.91% saying this. Because of this, we made sure we created a YouTube channel for the artist and added the music video to it. Another question from the survey also showed us that the artist's favourite type of music was was narrative, and they also liked some performance with this. Feedback like this meant that we went on to create a largely narrative and story-based video. However, we did include some performance. This initial target audience research definitely helped shape our further planning, research and construction, as in the back of our minds we were constantly thinking about this demographic and what kind of things they'd like to see, especially when deciding the song choice, costume and overall themes within the video. Soon after this, we conducted interviews with members of our target audience so that we could get a deeper explanation as to what they wanted to see in a music video, digipack and website for a musician. One thing we found out from this was that the audience felt that the music video and ancillary products should represent the ideologies of the genre, because they felt that it would create a stronger brand identity later down the line. This feedback also strengthened the information we found out in the prior survey when it came to what they liked to see in a music video. Because of this, again, they liked to see the narrative and story-based video. From this audience feedback, what we learnt from the surveys was reinforced as we were able to get a more in-depth explanation from their answers. Audience feedback was also important in the planning stage of our coursework. One example of when it was needed was to decide on which idea to focus on the music video and the ancillary products. We created a vote sheet for the audience to put a tally by their favourite idea. This was a very simple survey which showed us a straight answer of which one we should choose. This was a lot better than just deciding amongst ourselves, because this would have taken a lot longer and would have not shown us whether the audience actually liked the idea that we chose. This feedback meant that we could focus a lot more on the idea of having the female character die and the male character missing her and drawing her. The target audience also liked the concept of one of the concepts from the other idea of having a reversing sequence to show something previously missed by the storyline, so that their audience reading was flipped around a bit. After filming our pitch, we got members of our target audience as well as other media students to give us feedback about our idea. The most common response we got was good storyline because of the enigma, and it makes you want to know what else is going to happen in the video, and makes you keep watching. They felt that the idea for the ancillary product would also products would also link nicely to this and create a strong brand identity. The feedback reassured us that we were on the right tracks with our narrative storyline, and the only negative feedback we received was about the ending, because we were originally going to have quite a dark ending, but the feedback showed us that the audience thought that this was a little too dark for a music video. In response to this, we removed this ending. Another time we relied on audience feedback was when we were deciding on a new name for the artist because we could not use Bastille. We came up with a list of names in SurveyMonkey and asked the target audience which was their favourite. The favourite name from the survey was Bad Blood, with 56.25% saying this. However, we gave the audience the option of coming up with their own name, and a lot of people said Icarus. Because of this, we created a further survey, incorporating this name and some new ideas. Most people said Icarus was their favourite, with 45% saying this, and therefore we renamed the artist Icarus. The feedback we gained here just shows how important it is for us to get feedback from our audience, because without it we wouldn't have even come up with the name Icarus, let alone use it. During the construction stage for our products, we constantly refer back to audience feedback to further improve our products. For the music video, we created a survey using SurveyMonkey again to ask the audience what they thought of the first draft of our music video so far and any criticisms they had. We got some positive feedback comments, such as they liked the idea of the reverse sequence at the end, and that we had an interesting narrative, and the costumes really represented the genre well. This feedback helped to show us that we were on the right track. Before this feedback, we were also a little worried that the audience readings would be quite negative on the artist, and that this would not be a good idea to portray him in this light. The preferred reading of the video is to empathise with the male character throughout the video until the reverse sequence, and then after this it is revealed that he has killed the female character, and then the audience should preferably dislike him. The oppositional reading that we were worried the audience would get is that they would dislike him so much after the rewind that they would hate him as a musician and not just the character that he is portraying. However, the feedback showed us that the audience didn't see the video this way, and instead just liked how interesting the idea behind the video was. The main things we learned that we needed to improve on from the audience feedback was that some of the clips were quite slow paced and they were quite dark, and also there were some continuity errors, such as the girl being too tall in the mirror. Luckily, these were easily fixable, and this led us to shortening the opening sequence and the general length of each cut, as well as changing the pace by cutting to the rhythm of the song more. This also led us to filming some extra scenes because of how each cut was shortened. All of this feedback made our video a lot better and a lot more professional. In terms of the feedback for the digipack, we printed off a copy of each page of our first draft and got members of our target audience to write around the image, explaining what they liked and didn't like. This was a very effective way of collecting audience research, as the questions allowed the audience to explain their thoughts in as much detail as they wanted and did not limit their explanation. The feedback told us that the text on the front cover did not stand out enough and that the image was really blurry. As a result of this, we reshot the images on the front cover so that they were better quality. And this meant that the images also allowed the text to be seen more clearly. Feedback about the back cover suggested that we should change the typeface, add more copyright information, reduce the size of the barcode, and move the names of the songs to the middle of the page. These were all things that we were thinking about changing anyway, but the audience raising these points just confirmed our suspicions about these. I think that the audience feedback at this point was essential for confirming ideas and moving forward on the digipack and improving it. Finally, we created a similar audience feedback sheet for the website. We put the screenshots of the website on a page and got the target audience to write their comments around the images. Again, this form of feedback allowed the target audience to expand their points, as there were no limits because of the open questions. All of the feedback this time was very specific. For example, remove the tape on the QR code. And I think this was because of the lack of limits for the audience's answers, and therefore a lot of people picked up on things that no one else had previously picked up on. However, similar to the digipack feedback, they were mostly things that we were planning on changing anyway, and our ideas were settled by having this feedback. Because of this, the feedback was very useful, but one thing we disagreed on was that one person didn't like the fact that there was 2 QR codes on the page, but we felt that it was necessary to integrate different types of social media more strongly and make it more obvious to the target audience that they should use the QR code. We also felt that repeating the QR code might make them more inclined to scan it and therefore buy the album because of where the QR code is linked to, which is the Poet page on iTunes, therefore increasing sales of the album. The colour scheme was also another thing that was picked up on because of there was no strong colours being used on the website, and so it was quite dull and boring. We were not planning on changing the colour scheme from the creams and browns that we had it as, but the fact that it was picked up on by the audience made us try out different things, and we decided on 2 strong green colours. This meant that the website looked a lot more interesting and much more eye-catching. Because of the different changes that we made like these, I think the audience feedback was very important in this process, because it picked up on so many aspects of the website that we would not have noticed, and it made us develop and improve the website. Throughout all the stages of the coursework, we also conducted lots of mini-surveys whenever we were stuck with any decisions. For example, in the construction stage, when we were deciding on a typeface for the website, we used a voting tally to ask which was their favourite out of 4. These surveys were very quick and effective and got us the results we needed. It also helped us to justify each creative choice, as well as help make future decisions based on these kinds of things that the audience liked. The issue with these surveys, however, is that they're so small and sort of insignificant that you don't get a reason why the target audience likes the thing that they do, which can make it harder to make future decisions. I have found that so many of the decisions I made to change the outcome of the product were as a result of audience feedback. Everything from the whole concept of the video to the name of the artist and right down to the typefaces used on a small portion of the website. Because of this, I feel I've learnt so much from audience feedback and about just how important it is and useful it is in order to create a professional product package that the target audience for indie music would actually buy.